Hey guys, we're back again after many false starts with my camera breaking and Hangouts breaking and everything breaking.
If we don't stress test the technology, we're not doing our job. So
Exactly. So I
good.
think it's time for another world building idea you can steal, that kind of thing. But this time, let's do some sci-fi.
Sci-fi
So
sounds good.
this is like
Sounds out of this
the
world, maybe.
premise of the sort of the one idea that I had called SPIRE. So set big city, huge, like miles high, like 10-mile high towers. And the city is sort of built into layers. You have these rich people at the top who I was thinking like D&D at the same time as making this. So I thought, I'm going to put these elves up there, but if you want to have it like human only or whatever, make them genetically modified, tons of, tons of surgery to like make their faces really like pretty and, that kind of thing. And then have like the city controlled by these great houses, which then sort of oppress the lower city with keeping like drugs on the market, not paying them very much, that kind of thing. So you have the criminal underworld and then the lofty houses above. And I pretty much just had a couple little ideas of having the rich people living in the spires, have them like travel around on these sort of sailboats, but obviously powered ones, but they sail around on like the high sort of altitude winds. So like, or if you want to have it in Harbinger, which if you haven't checked out already, go to Absolute Tabletop and check it out. Is have them like sail on like astral winds or something. So they like just sail around in yachts, but in the sky.
So is it one spire or
I think multiple spires, like multiple houses.
Because when you first pitched that to me, I immediately thought of Doctor Who. And I can't. I like Doctor Who, but I'm not like a fan. Like I know all the names of the episodes, but there's one episode where it's exactly that. It's a city where it's all these multiple layers, and the higher level you go up, it's like the more affluent you are. Yes. I can't remember which one that was, but that's what I immediately thought of. Is like it's like if you're closer to that like pristine apex, then you're like more touched by affluence, wealth, beauty, maybe like you said, the tech. You know, I like that idea. I like it being fluid, like so that anyone can make it any way they want. If they're playing more of a cyber kind of a sci-fi, maybe that you're like augmented in that way.
Exactly. Yeah. Just take the premise and mold it to your needs. That's what I do for a lot of things. Yeah, I like this sort of idea of it, especially with cybernetics, having these like rich people just have this like technology that's sort of vastly superior to the cybernetics you can get sort of down in the street level. So down in the street level, they've got huge like hulking things with pistons and sort of really old crude tech. Then up in the you can barely even tell they've got cybernetics because there's like skin sprayed on, like was it iRobot, I think has that skin spray. Yeah, stuff like that. So you can't even tell. And they all look, perfect. Angular faces, they look like elves or whatever you want to look like.
Yeah. Or like maybe like something close to like ASMR in the sense that they're almost angelic.
Yeah, that was another thing. Like maybe an almost religious view of these nobles because they're so perfect and they don't die or whatever.
So how's this? At the top of this spire, you have like the Asimar, like supposed to be this pinnacle of beauty and everything. And at the bottom, you have like this tiefling society. And then it kind of just flows naturally in between. Like, but rather than like you said, multiple spires, like one large spire. And like that's the world is this spire. That's it's like in Star Wars Coruscant. I think it's Coruscant, the planet. It's basically the whole planet is just covered with a city.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to that. Like the
And
Spire is.
it's also very similar to having a single spire. It's also very similar to the 40K Hive worlds.
Yeah.
The ones on like Necromunda,
Yeah.
where it's just like billions of people just crammed into this huge towering city.
Or maybe it's made right through this planet.
So I did have an idea for like having like underneath.
That would look so freaking cool.
In fact, let me just extend my. I have that Photoshop file open right now. It's going to extend the canvas size down, so I can just add on something at the bottom. Let's put another 1,000 pixels in there. So if I share my screen, I had an idea like to have the city sort of almost have like a mirror image at the ground level. So you have like the spire going up into the sky, and then like another one going down into the earth, like into the ground, and maybe it's like a massive cavern or something.
Yeah.
And you can have like your drow under there, your dwarves, your goblins, or whatever living under this, and then they can go like delving into the earth to like find old stuff. Like had a cool thing where like underneath the city, it's like built upon like an old city. So you go down this like 21st century ruins or whatever.
Oh,
like old skyscrapers. You can delve into those, and those are your dungeons if you want to make it Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Let me. Oh boy, technology! How do you work? Hopefully, is this sharing an image? It seems to be black.
Yeah,
blank.
It's a gray.
There's
screen.
nothing there. What? There's something there on my screen. That's really weird.
It's
that's very, very, very peculiar. Let's try that again. I think I might just have to share my screen and then have the more like the. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, I shared my monitor rather than my screen. Just X out Steam real quick. Otherwise, I'll start lagging out all my things. But like having that, having like the spire, like oh shit, wrong pen. Try to draw on my tablet with a pencil rather than a tablet pen. Having like the spire like go down here, like it's like extending into the ground.
Yep.
And then underneath that, in this huge like cavern area, have like the sort of old city down below. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that'd be quite cool. So you've got like maybe like there's like a black market antique trade where like these antiques from this old world are like worth just so much money. And that'd be a reason to like go delving into them, even though they're full of danger or whatever.
Yeah. I just think that's a great idea either way. Especially when you are thinking sci-fi.
Yes.
The fact that it's just it should really be fantastical. I mean, sci-fi is about unless you're doing something really gritty and dark.
Yes. I mean, you can make this as dark as you want. Like having like horrible, alien eldritch stuff like hidden in the sort of catwalks and catacombs of like the Undercity.
You know me, Harry. I there would be all kinds of really nasty things living down in there that would at points creep up into the lower levels of the spire for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna just make this a tad darker. Let's try this color.
Yeah, I also like the idea too that it's like all encapsulated in that like complex, especially for sci-fi, because one of the things about sci-fi is it's oftentimes like I don't know, I mean some people might like that space exploration piece, but if you just it's just one, maybe you could just take this and plop this in your sci-fi world.
Exactly, that's what I mean. You could take this and it could be a moon in Harbinger, orbiting bastion, which I think the planet's called. The gas planet's called.
Yeah,
can't remember. Yeah, you can have your red Astra, or I think it's red or yellow or something like that. It's like the movement.
Oh, it's not the red. Red is the kind of thing.
I think red is the like energy and explosions.
Mm-hmm.
Unkind. I think it's yellow, but yeah, have like whatever color wins, which these rich people like sail around on, which is why I was thinking like multiple spires, so they could sail between them. So you could have like, just imagine like a chase, but having to deal with like wind direction. Like you can only go a certain way to get away from these people, and like I don't know, so you got like your Age of Sail, but in the sky.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. I actually like that. If you've ever seen the old, I think it's Spelljammer, that TSR put out way back, and I don't know if they're rebooting that or not. But Spelljammer had these ships, and they floated on the Plano Astra in between worlds, and it was really just kind of amazing. But they had some beautiful ships. I think one of my favorite ones was the Illithid ship. It looked the coolest.
Yeah.
But like there was definitely elven ships, and they looked pretty sweet. But yeah, I mean, I just like that idea. I think of there's this corny movie from the '80s called Space Pirates, and it kind of has that feel.
Sounds amazing already.
So if I was going to ever do like a corny kind of slapstick type sci-fi setting, I would probably base it off of like the Space Pirates type belief. But yeah, I really like that idea. I mean, one of my favorite planets in Star Wars is Coruscant. I mean, just because it's like everything's there, and like the deeper you go into the bowels of the city, it's when you kind of run into like the Red Suns and the other kind of criminal factions. I mean,
just like you have your sort of like lofty area. I'm just drawing the wrong layer here, like a plonker. But just imagine like what goes on in this dark space sort of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be anything, because it's just like there could be absolutely no light, so you just have like the glow of neon adverts and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's it could just be just utterly dark catacombs and sort of horrible corridors. Just imagine something like out of Alien, where it's just corridors, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's something so big too, right? You could have something growing or festering for a very long time before anyone might even know. People are disappearing.
Yeah, and like having having to send down a like a janitor or whatever to clean it or fix something. You just send like armed guards with that guy. There could be anything down there,
right?
And that's a whole one shot right there. Like, oh, go and fix this air pump or something.
Yeah.
And you're suddenly attacked by alien or something like that.
Yes, that would be brutal.
So that'd be cool. Like, do a one shot where you're like the Space Marines from Alien or from Doom or something, and just go into this place.
Right. Or like something like the Predator is down there hunting.
Yeah. And it'd be ripe with cults and criminal gangs and mobsters.
Yeah,
because that'd be so hard to police something so humongous.
Well, I would imagine too. The police probably wouldn't even go to certain areas just because it would be so unsafe.
And I'm just imagining like just Judge Dredd police, that kind of thing, where it's like justice is served in the streets with a gun.
Right, like I didn't even think of that. Like the new Judge Dredd movie, there's that big, huge living complex that he goes into, and that's that. Like they won't even go in. Like law enforcement won't even go into that building because it's so lawless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what I want.
Yeah. No, it's a great idea. Inspirational for sure.
But yeah, that's the kind of random thought that comes to my head while I'm doing, the washing up at work.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of just stuff that just appears. There's no, I have to like jot everything down onto my phone, otherwise I'll forget it. Wish I could have a notepad with me. It's amazing, like the ideas that you can just come up with.
Oh yeah, for me it's driving. It's like when I'm driving, I like literally get these great ideas. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm totally gonna forget that idea. Sometimes I'll pull over, but sometimes I just can't. I'm like in the middle of the traffic, and there's just no way I can move over. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I keep like repeating it to myself. Don't forget this idea. Don't forget this idea. And then when I do like get to a place where I can write it down, I can never remember the idea as awesome as it was in my head. Sometimes it's like a dialogue that like an NPC might say. Sometimes it might be just like a like an event in like a town or something like that. But yeah, it's like you never know when inspiration is going to hit you.
Exactly. You never really know. Even if you're never going to run it, just write it down. Might inspire something else. That's the beauty of it.
Yep.
Always write down your ideas. So I'm just cleaning up my mistakes of doing it in the wrong way. I'm like an idiot.
I do that all the time. I use GIMP, not Photoshop, but I do that all the time. I'll start doing something like, oh man, that's not the right layer.
Yeah. I was trying to think, is there any other cool ideas that I had? I'm trying to think. No, I mean, do you want to? Is there any like particular part of this you want to just explore? Like, go down anything that catches your fancy, and we just go down it and ramble for 10 minutes.
Jeez, I know we've actually been kind of doing it, kind of like from the hip as we've been chatting. As ideas kind of hit me, I'm just kind of spreading them out. Just I don't know, when I think about what we wanted to do in this video, we're giving folks a bunch of different ideas that they can either use or change any way they want to kind of take this one city world or in some fashion and make it theirs. So
but yeah, I came up with sort of like in my sort of just ramble of let's stop that happening. Because I've got like a little notebook here. I got loads of these, which just get filled with just pencils of just scrawls. Can't really see.
Yeah.
Because of the light. It's actually, sunny for once. You can see with this horrible reflection over there.
I'm not used to talking to you, Harry, when there's actually sunlight coming in through your window.
Yeah, well, it's only 6:45, so it's still fairly sunny. It's quite warm today as well. I know whenever I say it's hot, it's not hot. For Americans, it's not hot.
Yeah. It's starting to cool off here, so I like it. It's like my favorite time of year. Nice warm days, cool nights.
We haven't really had a summer. It's just been sort of just raining the entire time. We've only had maybe a couple of weeks of summer, like of hot weather. If that, and it's already, the end of August.
Yeah, summer went by quick this year, for sure. Yeah.
I just have written down something about orcs and dwarves. Like where they would fit.
Oh, you know something? I got this I was reading Facebook earlier, and someone had put a post. I think it was Megan Hobrook. I'm not probably butchering her last name. On the AbTab Facebook group, and she had said, "Hey, how would you guys reskin like races so that they're not like your tropey? Like elves are like fleeting and artistic and graceful. How would you change them up? Lloyd obviously talks about his darker elves and stuff. I would suggest like flipping things around. Like maybe the elves aren't the dominant race in this city. Maybe it is like orcs or some other maybe it's goblins. Maybe goblins realize, wait a second, we're not the most physically dominant race, but man, we're pretty smart. Or maybe it's like, I love dragons, so maybe it's a dragon, maybe it's kobolds, and this dragon is kind of, or dragon, what's Dragonborn. There we go. I got space on that. Maybe it's Dragonborn, or be creative. Mix it up a little. I would say mix it up a little bit. Make it interesting. Like if you have fantasy races in your sci-fi game, I think any sci-fi game I had would probably be mostly human.
Yeah, I think this would be a mostly
against
human
aliens.
place.
It'd be like man versus aliens versus.
I mean, when I originally thought of it, I thought it would just probably be like humans and quote unquote elves, because they could still be just human but modified, obviously.
Yeah, I guess
maybe something like 40K with sort of that very like subhuman, where it's just like human mutants,
right?
Like subspecies, the
ones
ogre
that are corrupted.
Yeah.
And then you have the ones that have been genetically engineered.
Yes.
The Marines. To be basically killing machines.
Yeah, this like Spartans from Halo, that kind of thing, and the Space Marines. All being
how's this? So, like, yeah, maybe it's like it's this large human city, but maybe there's some kind of like corruption within like the bowels of where the base of the city is, and over time, what it does, and I think in a comical sort of way, like if you think of like Futurama, the people that live under the city are all like mutated. Well, maybe they're mutated, and then maybe that's when you see like Dragonborn, or you see orcs, or you see tieflings. It's through this mutation based on where they're at within the city and what the corruption is. And then up to the top, you have like this more angelic or this more positive influence, or maybe it's the science that's altering. Maybe they are human, but over time, what they've become almost like Asimar in the sense like they're almost transcend in some way. But you could take, like, if you're thinking like a 5e dynamic, you could take that, you like a Yuan-Ti, you could bring in a Yuan-Ti.
I think, Yuan-Ti would fit like so well here.
Yeah.
Having like this sort of like snake cult where these like mutated humans have like developed like scales on their skin and like instead of skin and stuff like that.
And what's the cat race that they introduced in Volos? Tabaxi. So, Red Dwarf?
Yes.
You could have you could introduce Tabaxi and it'd be kind of like that cat they evolved. They are like house domesticated cats, but they've evolved to these like sentient bipedal creatures. But they still hold some of those innate cat traits, like they look like licking their hand, or they like purr and all that stuff. That would be, but I mean, I think with a little bit of creativity and a little bit not much tweaking, you could like take almost any race within like the 5e and kind of make it into how it was human, but it evolved. That's really cool. That's a really cool idea.
Starting to like this, how it's developing.
Now we have to make sure people take it, steal it, go with it.
Actually, feel free to steal this.
And if you have an idea, please share it with us. Put it in a comment, because Harry and I were talking before the camera came on, just briefly, but Stars Without Numbers is coming out with a reboot. And I've never played it. I've only seen it played. I know Harry's a big Stars Without Numbers player. I have a buddy that really likes to play it. So I think I'm going to be making the leap and playing some Stars Without Numbers. So I think there might be a SPIRE world in not the whole universe, because I think one of the great things about that game is driving around.
It's one of the great things, but also like my players and I found like just like the movement, it was far too quick to get across the sector of space. Like you could go like travel across in only a few months, which just doesn't feel right. It only takes like a week to go between each star system.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right. Like I feel like it needs to be a bit longer just to make the sense of having like really super high tech worlds and super low tech worlds. Because
if they're really that close, the high tech worlds would be like, well, we're going to take that planet. We're going to take that planet.
Exactly. It just doesn't make sense. To sort of say, oh, okay, let's just double or triple the travel time.
The nice thing about that is it seems like you could chime in on this. If you hopped to this like other world and you're there with your team of whatever you are, mercenaries, pirates, explorers, and you get to this planet, like you get to the Spire, and that's like a whole story arc. Yep. Maybe there's a reason yet you're there. Maybe maybe it's just a stop off. Maybe you just really need to, and it's like your ship's damaged and you really need to stop there and get repairs. How easy is it going to be? Well, I don't know. So you find out.
Obviously,
Yeah,
you don't look like you're not like a subhuman. You don't have scales. Like maybe people don't treat you well. Like no,
right,
we're not selling you our fuel. Go away. Like you don't look like us.
right. Yeah, if you depending on how much you want to flip it on its ear, like where do humans
Yeah.
fall in that hierarchy? Maybe you're the slave race, and
Mm.
like maybe the Yanti are the master race in this place,
Yeah.
and so you're the slave race. You're just meant to be used.
Yes, I think this place would be definitely a hive of scum and villainy. It's very xenophobic, all of that nasty
Yeah,
stuff. I think that would fit quite well in this place.
yeah. If I
Um,
was going to run a story arc where a ship came in and it needed to dock there, it would start off with people being really nice to them,
mm,
but they'd be these little hints. It'd be like that foreboding feeling to the players, and it would be building up to that, and then hopefully one of the players would kind of stumble across, or convince maybe one of the populace, and they take them to this like graveyard of ships
mm,
where they've taken ships from like other people that have come in, and they just gut them and use that tech, and then they either do whatever to
yeah,
the people, the pilots. Either they become slaves, they become food or something. I don't know.
or maybe
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 they,
they use maybe they use their like organs and
yeah,
fluids and
maybe
things to
they're.
try and keep alive or something. Maybe
Oh yeah.
some of the horrible genetic mutations which are causing them to look, like you anti are like
Hmm.
making them die a lot quicker, so they need to like consume other people to try and
Yes.
stay young.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like they literally, that's why they live. Maybe they're called the immortals,
Yeah,
and that's why they're immortal. But because they're always like changing out parts of their bodies
but they
from
need
other people.
they needed like a pure like original human to
Yeah.
to
So
you know
it's like everyone that has lived there in this spire knows, all right, you got to get mutated quickly. So they take their kids, like their babies, and they set them in an area so that they get mutated or whatnot. So because that protects you. And
like
that's
a
what you kind
really
of learned over time.
unscientific approach to radiation and just like plonk them down next to a reactor and just
Yes.
wait for instead of death it's just mutations. um,
Right, right. Yeah, because there's a certain resistance that they have to it, but it's not so much so that it totally shields them, but it's enough that they mutated in
yeah,
some fashion. Yeah. That's definitely a nice little twist, I think.
yeah, I'd love to see someone take this and put either like dark heresy.
Hmm.
I think would be it's a bit of a crap system, but um, it
Yeah.
has some cool ideas anyway.
I think they're
Or
redoing
take
it.
Harbinger and just run this stuff.
Yeah. It'd be
That'd
a
be
good
cool.
harbinger one, I think. It really would be. When I think of how those guys have built that hack for 5e, I
Mm,
think it would fit in
mm.
really nicely with it.
All right, I think we've given people plenty of good ideas. Give myself plenty of good ideas. I think I'm gonna finish up my little doodle and put that as the thumbnail. Put Spire or something written over it. But yeah, I hope this was entertaining to listen to. A bit, got you thinking. Your own version of Spire. And well, we'll try and make a video next week. I should be around. Hope you're
Sounds
around
like
as
a
well.
plan. Yep.
So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Please just tell us if you're gonna run it. It'd be cool. Love to watch it. Or if I've got time, unlikely take part. Yeah, please just let us know. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next week.